Hey, what's up? This is not very scripted, so it's going to be a little bit of rambling all over the place, but I'm hoping to help somebody because when I was thinking about getting the surgeries for my spine, I watched tons and tons of YouTube videos. So I got a lot of help from hearing other people's journey. So never know. Somebody else might be able to get a little bit of help from this. I've had chronic disc problems in my spine for a lot of my career. It just like progressively got worse and worse. My lower back, I had two herniated discs in my lower back, and I have one very bad one in my neck. The lower back one, I this can't really even pinpoint like how the initial trauma happened, but I know the neck one. One of my teammates like cracked my neck off, and instantly my left arm stopped working. So initially it came back over time, but it was one of those things where it was still bad to the point where any like head trauma or like grappling, I would get a stinger. To the point where it was so consistent that before sparring, I would always like put my head on the bag or my neck on the bag to like try to force the stinger to happen before actually getting punched, because if once I get stinger in the first place, then it's easier to move on through the day. I don't want to get the stinger in the middle of training. That was kind of like my logic for it. But getting to the surgery, I follow a guy called Daryl Christian on Instagram. He's a MMA coach, more grappling than striking, but he has a lot of good body lock series. So I was a fan of just watching his body lock videos. He does like every once in a while he'll post a video of like instructionals showing a lot of body lock stuff. So one day he put a story on his IG reel. No, he put up a story on Instagram, and it was Cub Swanson saying, hey, he was about to retire because of all the back problems and back pain and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this this sounds very familiar. So I was like, hey, let me message this guy. And he was super cool, man. Especially because he doesn't really know me like that. He was very, very helpful. He connected me with the right people, and he's one that introduced me to Dr. Telfane in New York. If you're on the East Coast, man, and you have any disc problems, his name on Instagram is NYC Spine. So if you have any disc problems here on the East Coast, hit him up. They say he's one of the best people in the world. Listen, I'll give it to him. Sadiq Yusuf says he's the best spine surgery on the on the East Coast. But yeah, Daryl was telling me about this new technology that they have where they no longer have to cut your neck open. If you guys know anything about disc problems and stuff like that, the first thing they always say is they're gonna cut your neck open, go to the back and fuse it. In my mind, I'm thinking spine fusion is probably the end of fighting. I don't think I know a lot of guys that are still fighting that had the spine fusion. And they said they might have been able to figure something out with the lower back, but like I said, it was still uh, big surgeries, and the lower back was getting to the point where every day I was just feeling pain down my leg. Like everything got so bad, like I've cried leaving practice a few times. Just like, man, I'm constantly in pain. But shout out to Daryl. He was able to put me in touch with the Dr. Telfane, and I put surgery off for a little bit, about a year, because I was like, man, I gotta get one fight in before I have the surgery. The pocket's feeling a little dry. I gotta figure something out. So as soon as I had my last fight, we scheduled it, and we did the back one first. I asked him, I was like, man, can we just do both while I'm there? But it was like, no, it's probably better to do one, give it a couple of weeks, and then do the other one. So I scheduled my back surgery for L4, L5, and then have a wedding. And then after that, next surgery, literally the next day after my wedding. So that was a whiplash of that was a very, very crazy month. Surgery, wedding, surgery. So the back one, to be honest with you, it wasn't they told me they'll put you to sleep, use this little tube. It's not that they're not cutting you up anymore. It's like the size of like a pen. It's like a tube that goes in there. They'll move your nerve out of the way, cut the disc, and then put your nerve back where it was. So you're gonna feel instant relief right away. For my back surgery, the moment they did it, I no longer felt the pain going down my legs. It's one of those things where I've been feeling it for so long, I forgot that my leg is just supposed to feel nothing. And then I also forgot how the feeling of the bottom of my foot felt. Like that next week, I remember when I was walking, I was like, I can feel like the sweat on the bottom of my foot, which is something that I haven't felt in a long time. And because I constantly had pins and needles in my legs all the time. That was what my brain got used to. So the back pain didn't go away instantly. I was still feeling the pain from the actual surgery, but the pins and needles and the leg pain, that went away right away. That went away literally when we were still there. I must have been a little high on the anesthesia, but that went away in the actual doctor's room. The next week, I only really took the pain medicine because, like I said, I was watching everybody's YouTube videos. So I didn't realize how much of a pipeline back pain to drug addict was. So if you didn't know that before watching this video, this will let you know that that is a thing. But apparently, it is very, very common. Back pain to drug addict. There's a couple of steps in between, but it's something that happens a lot. So because of that, I was like, I'm gonna try to stay away from the oxycodones and stuff like that. So I only really took it the first day after the surgery. After that, I kind of switched over to just ibuprofen and muscle relaxers, and that did the job. It wasn't so crazy to where I felt like I needed to take like oxycodone every time. It was just after that one day, I was perfectly good. Now, the recovery wasn't smooth, like every day is just getting better, because I did have a drastic scare the next week because the pain felt crazy. I thought when I'm telling you, I saw the people mention it before in their videos where they said they thought they re-herniated their disc. I felt exactly the same thing. So if after the surgery, if you feel that, don't get freaked out. I know I definitely freaked out. I told my wife, I was like, man, I think I herniated the disc again, because oh, I didn't do the best job of listening. I was still picking up stuff because they told me don't pick up anything, and I picked up something small. And at the time, I was like, man, was that tiny thing I picked up the reason why I just herniated my disc? So it was kind of that pain. If you have lower back pains and that sharp pain where everything kind of locks up, I had that about 2 or 3 times the next week, and then one more time the week after that. But like all the other videos would tell you, it's kind of part of the healing process. It's not just gonna be a drastic smooth sailing. And after that kind of went away, all that was left now was just a burning sensation in my legs, which the doctors did tell me I was gonna have. They said you're gonna have burning sensation for a while. And the worst part of it all was, I forgot what it's called. I looked up the name. There's this itching that happens because of your nerves are still healing, where your leg is itching, but it's like itching inside of your body. It's like some crackhead stuff. Like, I can describe it as like in the movies where somebody's like schizophrenic or they're saying stuff and it's like there's worms inside my body. That happened for 2 nights, and I remember feeling like that was so miserable, because when you take the any like medication for pain, it doesn't help that feeling. It just now you no longer feel like pain. You take the ibuprofen, you're no longer feeling pain. All you're feeling is just itching inside of your legs. So out of the whole journey, that was probably the worst part of it. So now I'm about 4 weeks away from the lower back surgery, and the legs are all good. When I do touch the inside of my leg and my knee, I do still feel a slight numbness, but I haven't felt the pins and needles since the surgery. And the lower back has been feeling better and better, like gradually. That one wasn't as instant as the leg pain. Leg pain is completely gone, slight numbness in the leg, and better progression with the lower back. I, like I said, after that 2 weeks, I had my wedding. I got through the wedding completely okay. The wedding week was a little bit of a hassle to get through, because after there's still fatigue and pain. But like I said, ibuprofen was able to deal with it all, and I got back literally the next day after my wedding, went straight back to New York for the for the next surgery. The lower back one, they put me to sleep, but they did wake me up at the end, which they told me they would, because they said, as the doctor described it to me, was that I would be the best litmus test to let him know that he's doing the right things. So I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a bit painful because every time they'll touch that nerve, I can feel the pain shocking from my back all the way to my ankle. Like it was pretty painful, man. It's one of those things I was like, man, in the movies when somebody's getting tortured and they're like, man, I'm not gonna talk, I'm not gonna talk. I was like, man, they're full of shit. Because I would say anything if somebody put me through that pain. It's like, yes, I did it. I did it. So the neck surgery, they told me they're not gonna do that. They're gonna keep me asleep the entire time. And that's because for the neck surgery, they actually had to drill through a little bit of the bone to get to the where the nerves was. The lower back one, they just cut me open with the this tool that kind of just looks like a pen. They cut you open, they move the nerves out the way, they cut the disc, and then the nerves slide back into place. So the pressure is instantly relieved. For the neck one, they had to drill through the bone a bit and then do the same exact procedure. So that one, I won't lie, I did take the ibuprofen for about 3 days because that pain was a little rougher. I'm about 1 week out from that surgery, and I do still feel a lot of tightness right here in my neck. But because of how successful the lower back one has been, knock on wood, I have faith that that's gonna go away relatively soon. Is only thing I'm feeling right now is tightness from turning. I won't know about the stingers until I get back to actually training, but I'm very, very optimistic that we've dealt with it, you know, because if the stingers was coming from the herniation constantly hitting the nerves, now that it's not there, I very, very well hope it's gone. And for someone that does sports like me, that impacts how well you take punches. It impacts grappling positions. There's some takedowns that I just stopped doing altogether, you know, just because of my neck herniations. So it's one of those things where like I really, really hope that it's a nail in the head of a lot of bad injuries. So we'll see how it goes. It's one of those things right now where they told me to take 2 weeks off for the neck, 2 weeks of doing absolutely nothing, which is relative. It's hard because I'm one of those people where like my mind does wander a lot if my body's not active. That's why working out isn't so hard for me. It kind of lets me zone out. But 2 weeks with doing nothing, and then around 4 to 6 weeks, they want light contact, you know, so I just got to start building my way up in there. But I'm very, very happy about my lower back, my legs, because I really do miss running. I stopped running for years now. You know, I could probably count how many times I ran in like on my hands because when I do run, there's just constant pins and needles in my legs and constant back problems, you know. So I'm very, very looking forward to running again. I was a big fan of those ultra marathon runners, and in my mind, I thought that's something that I would like to do, like when I'm done with fighting. And when I hurt my back, I kind of threw that out the window. So I'll be very, very happy to get back to that. And hopefully the next update I give you guys will be telling you about how this was the greatest decision of my life. You know, right now I'm very optimistic. Anybody that's looking to get the surgery, I definitely recommend it. If you can find anybody around your area that does the disectomies with that tool that they have, I will highly recommend it. I can't see the strain. Well, you guys can see it, but that's how small the scar is. And that's a week out. That's a week out. They did the same thing for my back. The scar is literally that small. It's a very, very tiny scar. They they stitch you on the inside of the surgery wound, and then they just cover the actual outside with just a piece of band-aid. You know, so the real scar is under my skin. So it looks a lot better than the people that have the scar on their neck with the bolts on the side, you know. So I'm very, very happy about that. The doctor says the most important thing is to just mitigate the risk of those first couple of weeks, because what you don't want to happen is to herniate your disc again in those first couple of weeks. As the time goes on, it gets harder and harder for it to do. So just be smart and don't hurt yourself. Hopefully the rambling wasn't too crazy. And if you're thinking about getting this surgery, you got something from this video. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll be able to provide whatever guidance I have.